As we saw early on, Jesus was condemned to die at the hands of the high priest, but his sentence had not yet been complete. Instead, he was led to Pilate, where his sentencing would be carried out. We find this account in Mark 15, verses 1 to 15. But before we go there, I want to take you on another journey. I want you to imagine that you are in a prison cell, below where all of the commotion is happening. This is where the prisoners were kept. Those who were already sentenced to die, those who were carrying out sentences for wrongs they had committed. And in the cell next to you is a man named Barabbas, a convicted murderer. He knows he's bound to die, and he knows his time is coming. And so very early, he hears a crowd, an angry mob, and he can only assume they're coming for him. It's silent for a moment, and then arises a chorus of a word he never wanted to hear. Barabbas. Barabbas. The mob gets angrier, shouting more violently, Barabbas. You watch as he sinks down lower and lower into the cell, knowing this is it. I'm going to die. And I deserve it. I've murdered innocent people. I've hurt. This is it. The crowds get silent once again. Barabbas is straining to hear what's happening. Suddenly he hears two words that pierce his ears and straight through his heart. Crucify him. Again, the crowds roar louder and louder, shouting and screaming, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. And you look over and Barabbas is not in a good place. Crucifixion, the most grueling, embarrassing, shame-filled death, is what awaits him. The crowds have demanded his name. They've demanded his sentence. And now it's only a matter of time. You hear the doors open to the prison, and you see the guards coming. Exhausted, angry, ready to just get this over with. And they go to Barabbas' cell, and he steps forward ready to accept the reality that this is his last day. For all the wrongs that he has committed, he is about to pay the price, one that he totally deserves to pay. And the guards grab the shackles, and before he even realizes it, they fall to the ground. Confusion, fear. I can't even imagine what Barabbas was thinking in that moment when the guards didn't say, "Come with us, you're condemned to die," but instead they said, "Your chains are gone, you've been set free, for another has taken your place." That's his story, and that's ours as well. Very early in the morning, the leading priests, the elders, and the teachers of religious law, the entire high council, met to discuss their next step. They bound Jesus and led him away and took him to Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied, "You have said it." Then the leading priests kept accusing him of many crimes, and Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer them? What about all these charges they are bringing against you?" But Jesus said nothing, much to Pilate's surprise. Now it was the governor's custom each year during Passover celebration to release one prisoner, anyone the people requested. One of the prisoners at that time was Barabbas, a revolutionary who had committed murder in an uprising. The crowd went to Pilate and asked him to release a prisoner as usual. "Would you like me to release to you this king of the Jews?" Pilate asked, for he realized by now that the leading priests had arrested Jesus out of envy. But at this point, the leading priests stirred up the crowd to demand the release of Barabbas instead of Jesus. Pilate asked them, "Then what should I do with this man that you call king of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him." "Why?" Pilate demanded. "What crime has he committed?" But the crowd roared even louder, "Crucify him!" So to pacify the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them, and he ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip, and then turned him over to the Roman soldiers to be crucified. Jesus was then led to the place of the skull, where he was nailed to the cross in Barabbas's place, in your place and in mine. He took on the sin, the guilt, and the shame for every human being. And there on that cross, he stayed. What kind of king would do that?